Hi, dear dreamers. This is Lisa Hayes, your host for Dreams for Society. You can find me at www.dreamsforsociety.com. I am also a mind coach, and you can find me at www.dreamsforyoucoaching.com. Today, October 19th, 2018, we are going to talk about the gate of creation. Now, I'll explain what I perceive the gate to be because it has slowed down enough for me to feel it. And as we go through this, I'll explain it. But first, what I wanted to do was lay a foundation for where the gate is in the scheme of things. So if you could take a coin out of your purse or your piggy bank or your billfold or whatever, I guess you really wouldn't have coins in your billfold, but if you could find a coin and look at it, a quarter, a $50, silver dollar, a gold coin, whatever coin you choose, if you could find a coin and look at it, and notice that the coin is all the same energy. If it's a silver dollar, it's all the same silver metal that makes up the entire coin. On one side of the coin is not copper, for example, and the other side of the coin being silver. If it's a silver dollar, on both sides is silver, and inside, let's assume that inside is all silver too, if it's truly a silver or gold coin. So the coin itself, the silver coin or the gold coin, is 100%, we're going to assume, silver, inside and out, on both sides and inside. Now, you've heard the saying that it's just one side or the other of the same coin. Well, let's assume that life, this polarized realm in which we live, is the coin, and it expresses itself as either side of the coin, negative or positive. Now, negative is not bad and positive is not good. It's just opposite emotional charges on either side of the coin. So let's do the normal tails and heads. So look at the coin and determine which side you want the tail to be and which side you want the head to be. And let's just play with the tail being the negative emotional charge and everything that makes up negative emotional charges, and the head's side being everything that makes up positive emotional charges. So you can imagine that a negative emotional charge is hate, and a positive emotional charge is the feeling of love, and so forth and so on. The gate is like a stargate, right in the middle of the coin, yet the stargate is in our realm. It's the exact in-between of the polar opposites, the exact in-between. It's a gate. And we go through this gate in every instance, in every moment, as we choose whether we want to experience the tail side or the head side, the negative or the positive. Now, what makes up the entire coin? Well, as we said, it's all silver or it's all gold. And we're going to assume that it's finite, that it doesn't expand and expand and expand forever. We're just going to play with the fact that it is 100% and whole, so that 50% is over on the negative side and 50% is over on the positive side. And that is the way this realm is set up. It's totally balanced, 50-50. So what we get to do is play with time. We get to play with time. And time is the choice we have in terms of deciding how long we want to stay on the negative tail side and how long we want to stay on the positive head side. Because in this realm, again, it's balanced, polarized opposites. And the realm doesn't recognize good or bad. It's just the same energy. It's the same silver. It's the same gold. It's just expressed as polar opposites on either side. So hate is love and love is hate. It's the exact same energy. This is the first thing to get a hold of here. The energy is the same on both sides. It's all silver, or if it's a gold coin, it's all gold. It's just expressing itself as opposite emotional charges. Just like science expresses opposites in physics and Einstein's theories and Newton's theories and all of those things. Opposites are on either side. It's just expressing itself as opposites, the energetic of the same. So what we want to discuss here is if we've got 50% hate and 50% love, or 50% misery and 50% joy, or 50% evil and 50% sainthood, or 50% destruction, or 50% construction, and so forth and so on. It's the same energy, just expressing itself as polar opposites for us to play with in this realm. The key is to remember again that in this realm we've also been given the gift of time. Time, T-I-M-E. Time is how we get to utilize experiencing either side of the coin. For without time, we wouldn't be able to contract or expand the experience. We must have time to experience this polar realm of opposites that is split 50-50. Because we get to choose with time how much time we want to spend on either side. We get to utilize time to choose how long we want to experience either side. And again, it's totally balanced in terms of energy, and the energy is exactly the same. Time has been brought into this realm for us to decide how long or how short we want to spend on either side of the coin. So if we want to spend 90% of our day on the misery side within the 24-hour period, we can do that. Because what we do is we take the 24 hours and we decide we're going to spend 90% of 24 hours on the misery side and only 10% of the 24 hours on the joy side. So to make it a little bit more easily understood, let's say we just have 10 hours that we get to play during the day. We can decide what side of the coin we want to be on in any given moment. And by the end of the 10 hours, we'll be able to add up. Well, how long was I on the tail side, the negative side, and how long was I on the positive side, the head side? And reflecting back, we'll say, well, why did I choose 90% on the negative side, which was 9 hours of my 10-hour gift? and only 1 hour on the positive side? Why did I spend 9 hours being frustrated, stressed, sick, angry, feeling hatred, sorrow, guilt? 9 hours of that. I had a 10-hour window that I could do anything I wanted, and I spent 9 hours playing on the negative side of the coin, again, which is not bad or good. It's in the realm of energy, it's all the same energy. I spent 9 hours on the loss side and only 1 hour on the gain side. But again, my gain is my loss and my loss is my gain. It's the same energy. It's just a question of where we want to spend our time. And time gives us the ability to contract or expand our experience. So we, in this case, expanded our experience on the 50% negative side of the 10 hours, and we contracted our experience of the 50% on the positive side to only 10%, 1 hour. But we expanded our 10-hour gift on the negative side to 9 hours. So it's a question of where we want to spend our time, knowing that this realm is perfectly balanced as is, and we get to choose where we want to spend it. And the reason why I know this to be the case is because I know how to get through the gate more easily. And I've been through the gate and I've had the beautiful experience of time slowing down, so to speak, so that I could stay in the gate and experience it. And the gate, the space in the gate, feels like everything's emptied up and out, yet completely whole and completely everything, but yet everything's emptied up and out. So it's hard to explain. It's a space that is neither side of the coin. It transcends the emotional realm. It is a feeling of, words don't describe it, but a feeling of absolute bliss. It was neither light or dark or black or white. It was an illuminated gray, and there was nothing in there, yet I never wanted to leave. I never wanted to leave. And I got in there because I ended up using a mantra that accepted, appreciated, and approved of my experience on the negative side of the coin, which got me to slip into this gate, allowed me to stay there to experience this beyond joy feeling, because it's beyond this realm. And because I was going into the direction of the positive, I'm assuming it felt beyond joy. Now, if I was going in the other direction, it might have felt differently. However, I've only experienced it going from negative to positive, from what I perceive to be loss to gain. And in both of these situations where I had it slow down enough, it was back in 2016, a month apart, on July 29th, 2016, and August 29th, 2016. And the first experience was I lost my very expensive jewelry in the sand. I had it rolled up in my towel, forgot about it after I came back from a long swim, picked up the towel off my beach chair, and realized a few minutes later that my jewelry had been rolled up in the towel, and I looked below my feet and it was completely gone, because what happens with gold jewelry is it leaves no trace. The sand just flows over the top of the jewelry and you have no idea where it is. After my sister and I looked and looked for an hour, and dug and dug and dug. We couldn't find it. I meditated and went into a space where I just completely loved my situation. I said yes to the situation. I allowed it. But I went beyond that. I actually accepted it. I appreciated it. I approved it from a higher perspective of realizing that loss is gain and gain is loss, because the loss I had, another aspect of me, which was the beautiful beach where the sand was, gained this beautiful energy. So I never really lost it, and I never really had it anyway. It was all gain is loss and loss is gain. I realized that from a higher perspective, and I completely transmuted my, in a sense, my feeling of loss to a feeling of gain, because I felt happy that the sand and this location had this beautiful gold energy in the jewelry. And so I no longer felt a loss, because it's all the same energy anyway. I just shifted from the tail negative side of the coin to the positive side of the coin in my mantra. I rose above it really by understanding that my gain is my loss and my loss is my gain, which all the energy is the same, and it washes each other out. The gain washes out the loss, and the loss washes out the gain, and it's a complete wash. So when I understood that, I slipped into this gate going into the direction from the negative side of the coin to the positive side of the coin, stayed there for a few seconds, didn't want to leave. It was so awesome. Realizing that there was nothing there, nothing in terms of creation, because everything was emptied up and out, yet it felt complete and whole, silent, peaceful beyond that. And then I slipped out into the positive side, the head side of the coin, and what happened next was beyond anything I could have scripted. And again, the key is to rise above the emotional charge and understand that they're both the same. Gain is loss and loss is gain, so that you feel no loss and you feel no gain. What ended up happening? I got on the other side through the gate, and right as I opened my eyes, my sister was rubbing her hand gently over the sand on her side where her umbrella and beach chair were, which I felt was just several feet away from where the jewelry would have been. And she rubbed the sand where we hadn't dug at all, and which was a miracle because we dug almost everywhere. And within 3 seconds, literally within 3 seconds, she pulled out all 3 pieces of my jewelry, both earrings and my necklace. Now that, to me, is a miracle. The month later, the same thing happened. I did the same mantra. I was frustrated about having to fix my car because it was very old, and the expense of fixing the fuel pipe, exhaust pipe, was more expensive than the Blue Book value of my car. And I went into this space again for kind of forgetting about it a month ago, but knowing I felt so much better afterwards. I just did the accept, appreciate, approve, again, not attached to anything happening, just understanding that my loss, which is, a big portion of my income, my discretionary income was going to go to fixing the car, was really my gain. Because even though the distributorship or the manufacturer would gain, this coin, this silver coin or gold coin, is my hologram, And I'm experiencing both sides simultaneously. So my loss is my gain and my gain is my loss, regardless of the fact that I'm perceiving someone else gaining while I'm losing. It's all the same. It's a wash, because every aspect of my hologram is me. And I understood that, came out of that space again, that gate, and again had gone from the loss over through the gate to the gain side, the head side. And again, within about 3 seconds, my phone rang and I answered it, and it was the dealership telling me that the manufacturer said that they were going to fix the car for free, even though there was no warranty or no recall. Now, how can that happen? You might ask. It's a miracle, because this had never happened before. I'd been taking my car to the same dealership for 25, 30 years, cars over the course of time, and they'd never done this before. So this was a miracle to me, and the lady at the dealership was pretty shocked, actually, that this happened. She said I couldn't believe that the manufacturer said just to go on ahead and fix it, and that they would reimburse the dealership so that I didn't have to pay 1 cent. So how does this happen? I had another experience, again, a gain and a loss. I think that my inner guidance wants me to feel going through the gate with these small examples of gain and losses. Maybe that's one of my biggest challenges right now. I won't go into that, except that it wasn't instantaneous within 3 seconds, but it was the following spring, 2017, and I had to spend a lot of money on taxes, and I was fretting over it because I had to take money out of my IRA to pay the taxes. And within a week, I get a big fat check from IRS saying that I overpaid my taxes from the previous year. And that was after I did the same thing, accept, appreciate, and approve, regardless of having to spend all this money on taxes. I just accepted, appreciated, approved of it, and a week later I got this big fat check. Again, I wasn't expecting that outcome. I just wanted to unconditionally love the situation I was in. So when we remember that the negative side where our enemies are and the positive side where our friends are, when we remember how to accept, appreciate, and approve of our enemy, to unconditionally love our enemy, to really accept them, appreciate, and approve of them, even as they're attacking us, then we will know how to go through the gate into the positive side. And guess what? What we perceived to be our enemy a second ago or a moment before turns into be our friend. This is how it works. So what I also want to explain is, again, the time element. We can stay on the tail end, the negative side, as long as we want. 100% of the time if we want. It doesn't change the schematic or template of this realm, because this realm is perfectly balanced in terms of negative and positive. Time is giving us the opportunity to choose how long we want to spend on the negative side or the positive side. So we're not messing around or messing up the schematic of this beautiful realm. We're just remembering that time is the tool in which we get to experience either side. So let's say we're on the positive side. We're experiencing a lot of gain. And right now I've got some physical gold that I've invested in. And I'm fretting because I'd really like to utilize that gold in terms of other investments. I'd like to instead of hoard it like Scrooge on the Christmas Carol, I'd like to do something with it for the good of society, for the good of my family, for the good of me, instead of hoarding it. But what's happening is gold has been going down since I bought it at a high 8 years ago, it's been going down, 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 down. Actually, 10 years ago, I bought it at a high. It's been going down, 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 up a little, down, down, up a little. And I'm way below water on it. So I'm fretting over it because I want a gain like I had it originally. When I bought it high, then it went a little higher, and I was floating high. So I realized what happened. Why didn't I stay on the positive side of gain? Why did I go through the gate and go through to the negative side of loss? And I realized that the opposite holds true here. If I want to go through the gate and experience the negative side, and I can do that as long as I want once I get over there. If I want to go through the gate, the way to do that, and we do it subconsciously a lot, is that we start feeling the emotions of the negative side. We start tuning into that. So on a subconscious or maybe even conscious level, I felt guilty about making all that money from gold, even though I hadn't spent it yet, because I knew that people out there were losing money. If I was gaining money, they were losing it. Because in this finite world, we feel like there's only so much money, right? So if I'm gaining on the stock market, then someone else is losing. And I felt guilty about it, being the empath that I am. So I wasn't accepting, appreciating, and approving of my gain. I was in fact guilty over it. I was hating my gain, which, tuning into the negative side, the tail side of hate and frustration and guilt, that was like a magnet then. It pulled me through the gate over to the other side. And I've been sitting on the other side with that aspect of my life for 10 years. How incredible. How incredible. So how do I get back onto the other side? I must accept, appreciate, and approve, unconditionally love the amount of extensive losses I have experienced in my metals investment. And it wasn't just gold, it was silver and platinum. I must, and it was in ETFs as well, I must accept, appreciate, and approve of that. Approve of that and unconditionally love the fact that I lost all of that, realizing that it's up to me how long I want to stay on the negative side of loss, with where loss is expressed. Is 10 years enough, or do I want to stay there for 20 more years? In that aspect of me. Now, there are many aspects of me that I'm on the other side of positive, like health. And really overall, I have enough money. So if I want to look at it that way, there's a lot of overall wealth on the positive side. And there's so many aspects of me that are on the positive side. What is interesting, though, is I've chosen to stay on the negative side for a long time concerning this investment regarding metals. Why? And it's tied to a lot of things. It had to do with my divorce and the grief over that and the frustration and all of that related to a divorce. So it's tied into a lot of emotional energies. But the key is, the reason why I wasn't able to stay on the positive side with it was because I started to feel guilty of having that, or unworthy of having that, or whatever we do. And it allows us to, like a magnet, to slip through the gate over to the other side. I'm expressing all this to you because if you're like me, you'll want to see how this works. How has been the biggest question of mine. HOW. How does this work? Because if I know how, then I'm more able to employ the methodology that works for me. So I've expressed to you the methodology that gets me through the gate over to the other side consciously, rather than succumbing to the subconscious pulling on one side or the other, let's start understanding how, so that we can consciously move from one side of the coin to the other as it serves us within our best interest, and consciously decide how long we want to stay on either side. And again, we're not going to mess up anything in this realm by staying on the positive side the full 10 hours. The negative side isn't going to go away because this realm is perfectly balanced. And if we have any worries about this realm going away, I think it's a long, long time in the future, even though there's no time really, before we'll be able to master being on the positive side in every aspect of our hologram 100% of the time. And that brings me to the last thing I'd like to discuss, which is somewhere in the depths of my awareness and knowingness, I feel where we're headed is to do just that, to master this realm in such a way that every aspect of us is on 100% of the positive side, and that we still play with time to experience the positive side. And once every aspect of us, all people, places, and things, and animals, and everything else in our realm is doing that, then the realm in which we know it, in terms of negatives and positives, will change. And that is beyond my understanding and knowing now. I feel it could change from this perspective of no longer having polar opposites, that we will no longer want to ever experience the negative side after we've chosen the positive side 100% for so long, over time, in quotes and out of quotes, that the negative side will just simply fall away, along with all of the memories in the Akashic records, in our memory banks, or however you want to call it, that we experienced in the negative realms of the coin, on the negative side. Everything will fall away, that we won't even need to construct a monument to World War II, because we'll have completely forgotten, it will no longer be accessible in our memory bank, that negative experience existed. Even though from an energy standpoint, peace and war are the same energy. And in order to rise above both, to move outside of the coin that has the tail and the heads, to rise above that coin, we will get into an experience where there are no longer polar opposites. But first we have to remember how to choose the positive side and do it long enough that the negative side falls away naturally, and we rise above and no longer are contained within the matrix of the coin. We are now outside that matrix in something new and different. And that's where we're headed, dear dreamers. I hope you find this message significant for you as you learn to create, moving through the gate of creation at will, and remember to utilize time so that you can decide how long you want to stay on either side of the coin. And with that, I leave that for you to ponder. Until next time, love and joy, Lisa.